Hello, folks, and welcome to Dark Rose Podcast, episode 17. Hope everyone is having a wonderful week. I know I've been busy. I know you've been busy for the past couple of weeks. I think the last time we saw each other was on St. Patty's Day, right?
That is true.
No,
yes.
It was the parade.
It was a parade, bro. The week before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Because
I know. Like the whole time, like when we were just going there to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, like prior, it was actually like a fun time. By the way, folks, I do want to, I know we already just started off the conversation, but I do want to introduce who this is. This is Brandon Hayes. By the way, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Welcome to the show. First of all, appreciate you coming, by the way. I know
appreciate you for having me.
Like I said, it's been quite some time since, St. Patrick's Day?
Yes.
No, I want to say, why do I keep saying St. Patrick's Day? Literally St. Patrick's Day prior, you know what I mean?
We could lie.
We can lie. It was literally St. Patrick's. Yeah. But first of all, from those past gaps in the past few weeks, how's everything with you so far?
Doing well. I've been busy. I'm gonna graduate soon from Rutgers. There's a whole strike going on as of right now, so it's a little wacky. I
heard about in New Brunswick, right?
Yeah, well, pretty much all the campuses.
All campuses.
Yeah. I'm gonna graduate from there with my master's in digital media communications in May. Yeah, thank you. Next month. So really excited about that, and just been focusing on work, producing, and just trying to figure life out as well. Just jumping through hoops and figuring out puzzles.
Yeah. Well, first of all, how old are you, by the way?
20. I'm about to turn 26 in 10 days. April 24th.
Oh, you're fine, bro.
So, wait,
in 10 days?
In 10 days, yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Just like with St. Patrick's Day, how it was we were saying it's St. Patrick's Day a week before. I'm basically saying it's my birthday because it's
literally
basically in a week, So
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, thank you. And it's such a funny age, 26, because I feel like some people are like, oh my God, you're so young, you got your whole life ahead of you. But at the same time, I'm seeing other people in their 20s and 21, they're looking at me like I'm ancient, even 18, they're looking at me like, oh my God, you're so old, you've done so much in life.
It's funny too, because people, when you say the late, we're all in the late 20s, I'm 29, you know what I mean? And being in the late 20s, you feel old. We think we feel old because, again, you feel like you did a lot from literally age 18 to 25, going into 26, you know what I mean? But realistically, we're still young because we still got a long way, you know what I mean?
And my body just moves different too. I wake up even more sore than usual. But one thing I figured about with age is not really. There's no rule book on age. There's no guide on age. It's whatever happens. Correct. And every generation pretty much goes through their own trials and tribulations. I was even looking at this one thread of just newspapers from the late 1800s until now, saying how every generation have it easier. They're always saying this generation, they all got it easy. It's a huge repetition, and that's the one thing I even figured out about life and what's going on. Is just everything is repeating itself. History is repeating itself, and I'm really trying to escape that cycle and just focus on what I got going on, focus on myself, and not really judge and go by what other people are saying and anything that I see out there,
Yeah, and you know what plays a big factor, I think, and I've said this in my previous podcast, I think on multiple of them, but I always feel that the effects from that cycle is probably the media, for sure. I feel there's a lot, going on outside the world. People will be staring at their cell phones, looking at the social media all the time, and staring and looking and thinking oh man, I wish I was here. But realistically, I think personally, if you do what you got to do, focus on your thing, not even look at the social, unless it's part of your job. Unless it's part of your job, that's a different story. You know what I mean? But unless you you don't do anything and you sit there and do nothing, it feels like it's gonna go slow. So sometimes I think you have to do things, focus on your things in order to get where you want to be. And at the same time too, time goes by quick when you do things, but you don't realize it. And that's why where you are currently, you feel like you're ancient, but at the same time too, you had a lot of growth throughout the years. And again, you're not realizing that. We're not realizing it, to be honest, in general, because we're so busy focusing on what we have going on today. In the present, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong on that, though. So I want to hear your take.
No, you're absolutely right. And when you mention social media, I don't even want to brag, but I feel like I broke the chains of when I see people living a lavish lifestyle. I don't get jealous anymore. I don't say like, oh my God, I wish I was there. I wish I was them.
It's like you don't need to.
It's all behind the scenes stuff. It's all, it's all fabricated. It's, I don't want to say it's a competition, but people are really out here living their life and they want to showcase and they want to make it look pretty. Just like how I said before, how I'm producing. Stuff behind the scenes. It's like a tornado. It's a madhouse. You would never think.
I was going to ask. I was like, because I know I wanted to get into that.
Yeah.
Because I know in the beginning, when I first got a chance to discuss with you in the St. Patty's Parade, you were telling me that you were a producer. So I do want to know, tell me more about the in-depths behind the scenes. I guess, so start off with, maybe, how the routine goes.
So my job, I'm in news, so I get my topic. I work overnights. I get into the office between 10:30 and I leave around 7 o'clock. 10:30 at night and I leave 7 o'clock in the morning.
So
7:30. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Overnight. I'm working like a doctor. It's a hospital hour.
Gotcha.
So I usually wake up around 7 o'clock in the evening, and I see what my topics are, my segments that I have to produce for the day, and I start off with a packet. That packet consists of the topic itself, facts, a POV if a guest is coming on, what the guest's thoughts are, if they have any images or any video they want to share. They send me any articles. I verbate the articles. I send them the whole articles. That's the research tab, and I also provide facts from the articles. Gotcha. I get that packet ready, and that goes to pretty much the writers, all the producers, everybody who's behind, who's working on that topic, who's working on that segment. So a bunch of people gets that, and that's what I start off before I even get into the office. And then when I get in there, then I start making the script for the segment. Ooh. I pretty much type out the script, just a base. It's not like verbatim where everything says, but a general concept. And I pull up videos. Sometimes I edit videos, either what the guest sends me, or I look it up in our database, see if there are any videos that is correlated to the topic at hand. I also would produce the guest name, the guest slivers, the banners that go on TV.
Oh my God! So you're doing a lot, my guy.
Yeah. If you say so.
It sounds like multiple things that are happening. So you're editing the videos, you're providing the script, you're typewriting. So it's it seems like you're I don't know what type of producer you are, but I feel like you're doing things to help in speculation of different departments in one go, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what is your position, by the way.
It is a production assistant.
Assistant. Gotcha.
And one of the things I really love about my job is around 3:30. The show airs around 4 o'clock. So around 3:30, I go to the 12th floor. I go upstairs. I work on the second floor. I go upstairs to the 12th floor, and then that's when I start contacting guests. Even not even my guests, other guests that's going to be on the show.
Oh.
And I either contact them through phone or sometimes they actually come into the building. So I actually capture them from the lobby. And when I get them, we have a quick chit chat. I usually say hey, I'm producing your topic. It's a great subject that you're covering. Really appreciate the time that you're coming on. Make them feel warm and welcome, so they want to come back. And it's just appreciation for somebody coming in that early and willing to talk and willing to be here. And that's why I also appreciate you for having me. Of course. Always having someone to chat to about just this dialogue, just about life and just work. And it means wonders to me.
Yeah, I think one thing to what I like about that, especially when you're greeting your guests, is to make them feel comfortable, make them feel at home.
Yeah.
Knowing once you're being able to be nice to them, be respectful to them, for sure they want to come back. You know what I mean? They want to come back onto the news, and especially with they see you and they meet you. You know what I mean? That's how I do it with the guests I do on my podcast. I usually, when they come in, I say hey, thank you for coming. I'm glad it was a drive for you, but I appreciate you coming. Get yourself situated. You want water? Do you want coffee? Come talk. Let's talk for a little bit before we get the show started. That's kind of this. I don't want to say it's a segue because I really want to get to know how you're doing. To be quite honest with you, but it's a way to allow them to just feel right at home, feel comfortable. The setups that I have, you probably do the same thing with setting up. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you do setups when you go to the 12th floor and everything's on air, you had to make sure everything's
it's presentable.
Yeah, presentable, making sure that the guest looks comfortable and presentable, making sure everything looks good, and then air it on. And that's how it goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is there any this is another question. Is there a situation where like the production didn't like go as planned, and so you had to like have a scenario where you need to like wing things. You ever
Yeah,
go through,
yeah.
like,
There's
those kind of
definitely.
situations?
We also, even before coming in, excuse me, we also have to think of a plan B, plan C type scenario just in case something falls through, if the topic changes, if the guests cancel, if anything come awry, we weren't able to get a clearance or a copyright for a video, so we can't focus on that video. We gotta do something else, and that's why I even compared it previously to social media, how things look so glamorous on somebody's page, or something can look so glamorous on TV, but they don't know the fight. I always think of that SpongeBob meme when there's 1,000 SpongeBobs and they're all going through chaos. It's exactly what it is sometimes. There's been a lot of situations. I would say more than half the time we run into problems, and that's the one thing with this industry. You gotta learn how to keep your cool, and you gotta learn
Composure.
you gotta learn to really relax and roll with the punches, handle stressful situations. And I compare that so much with life, because life won't really throw you curveballs as much as being in television, but when life throws you curveballs, it has a lot of break to it. It can really throw your swing off. And you can either do a couple of things. You can pout and be like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened, or you just be like, listen, I got another at bat, and I'm just gonna worry about what I did wrong that previous time and make sure I'm gonna go into my next at bat, the next situation, the best way I can. And that's how I look at the role that I'm in, and that's how I gotta treat life as well.
Hey, I love that. Especially too, you have to have this. I don't want to say you have to. Actually, it is good just for life in general, and with the role that you're in, having that improvisation, having that type of like anything can happen. Like we'll think like everything is going according to plan, and then all of a sudden, boom, wiped out, and then your mind, like, because maybe I don't know if we're all humans here, so there's some people that probably would think like, oh, everything's going perfect, but when something happens or if something cancels, they're basically like, crap, like I don't know what to do. There's like panic mode, and that's where, like you said, you need to have that type of composure to find out, all right, what do I have in my environment that I can utilize to keep this going. Like you're definitely gonna like learn from it, obviously, for next time, so it gives you like a good plan out in a way where you can just like, all right, this cancel out, but I have this, bring it over. All right, the person is sick or the script's wrong, I gotta back up. So you always gotta come in with ammunitions in the background just to make sure like everything, like if it doesn't go out smoothly, I have like plan B. If it doesn't go smoothly for plan B, I got plan C. That's actually a really good tactic, especially in life in general, because sometimes you don't know. Life is always going to be unexpected. Sometimes you gotta take the hits. You have to take the hits. Sometimes like you need to. Sometimes, well, I don't want to say sometimes. Sometimes you have to fail in order for you to learn for the next time. I always say for me, like when I make a mistake, I don't walk away from it or I run away from it. I go towards it, and I always ask, okay, like where do I need, or what do I need to be better at this? I know I'm weak at this, but I have people around me, or sources, like I say, around me that can help me become better at whatever that particular weakness is. That's like I don't know if that's your way of doing it.
Well, I think the most impressive thing someone can have, you have to have the mentality of, okay, I'm gonna fail. You're gonna have to have that mentality. Absolutely. Go into every situation with your 100% best foot forward, most effort, whatever. But expect that, okay, I'm gonna fail. But you need to have your, okay, when I fail, how am I going to react? You need that emotion. You need that, okay, I'm just going to bounce it off, brush it off, act like nothing happened. And I think I built that mentality just through all the sports I've played through high school. And I really hate comparing high school sports to now, because I feel like it's such a jump. It's such a big jump, but it taught me a lot of lessons.
I was going to say it does, because first of all, in basketball, I don't know what sport you play. I keep thinking it's basketball, but what sport did you play?
I played baseball, I wrestled, and I played football.
So all of them, you expect sometimes to lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that carries as you grow older. You know what I mean? Because when you play sports like that, you have like the competitive fire. You want you're competing against people that want to win. And if you take the L, basically you're gonna feel hurt. You're gonna be like, damn, like we lost that game. Or if it's like even a championship, like a wrestling championship, baseball championship, and if you lose, like it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But the best part about it is when you lose from a championship, it gets you more hungry. So now going to it, like it's all about like how you react to it. If you know like you're reacting that you want it, that's the mentality you're gonna continuously have, because and that translates to like where you want to go in your career later down the road, producer. Like, and I'm gonna get to the point where, or to the parts of how you started and where you got the origin of being a producer. But I think what you have going, just my assumption, having those competitive spirit, the fire, translates moving forward for you into your schoolwork, your scripts, because you love doing it. That's also another thing. You have a passion for doing it. When you have a passion for doing it, it wants you to do more. You want to fail, but you want it more, because you want to be the best that you can be at something that you love doing. And that's like my thinking of you, when how you started, as like where the mentality came from. You know what I mean? But that's my personal thinking on it. So I think it's a good thing, especially starting from the sports.
Yeah.
I used to do. Oh, it's funny too, because it kind of reminded me of when I did basketball. I didn't do high school basketball. Like I'll be honest with you, I got cut.
Yeah.
I didn't try out freshman year. I should have though, but I did try out sophomore year and I got cut. But then because of getting cut, I actually didn't get. Because of getting cut, I ended up dancing, like break dancing in particular, and I started like loving it, and I kept going with it. Obviously, I had a little bit of knee issues because my kneecap is always popped out of place sometimes, and I have to but I love doing it because it gives me like that inner peace and that love for it. You know what I'm saying? But prior to that, I have like in my room, in my childhood, I always have all these trophies. I did taekwondo, I did basketball, and I guess this is just like you. This is where I wanted that feeling of being successful. But the problem is, I think for me, I was a little bit over competitive. Yeah. To the point where sometimes I might be losing friends. Because sometimes when you're competing, again, I don't know how you are when you're competing. Like I always like talk a lot of trash. But it's out of love. You know what I mean? It's just a way to just get into your head, but also, it's a way for me in order to win the game.
Yeah, when I compete, even now, if I'm just playing any game, I don't really look at my opponent as like my biggest adversary. I look at, okay, I'm supposed to win right now, no matter what, and it's not me being cocky. Is I go in with the mentality of I'm supposed to win, like, and if I lose, I'm gonna be sad as hell, and I'm not gonna make any excuses. Right. It's my fault that I lost. And when I go into any situation, I'm always like, I'm automatically going to win. And it's not me being cocky. It's just me having that mindset that winner mindset. And my opponent, he can be the best guy at whatever. He can be the worst guy at whatever. I'm not really going to talk down on him. I'm not going to talk bad about him, whatever. I just know I'm going to be talking bad about myself. Right. I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to win. I'm supposed to dominate. I'm supposed to do whatever. Even if with wrestling, if I had a sore ankle, doesn't matter. I lost. I should have been better. I should have did this and that. With baseball, if I struck out, it's not because the sun was in my eye. It's not because, my wrist is hurting. It's because I struck out. It's because the guy was, better than me. The guy pitched better than me.
It's like what's called no excuses.
Yeah.
There's always no excuses.
Yeah, 100%. That's how I live. I'm always, every time I step into every situation, I'm like, I'm going to win because I'm going to give it my 100% effort. And effort is like the biggest word for me. Let me tell you why effort is like number one for me.
Please do. Please.
When I was in middle school, I never made honor roll. Never made honor roll.
Me either.
No. I made effort roll. Every marking period. There's about 4 marking periods, and I was in middle school for 3 years, 6, 7, 8. I made effort roll every single marking period. Ooh. And I was really upset about that at the time because I was, I got D's, C's, B's, never got an A. And I'm like, they give me effort roll, and it's so embarrassing because when they give out honor roll, they do it for all the students. Somebody goes in the classroom, everybody gets an honor roll paper, and then here I am with the effort roll paper. Yeah. And I'm always what's up?
No, I was like, I never heard, like, for me, I never heard of an effort roll before.
Yeah, I know. And you know what's crazy? I was like the
Yeah.
only person really receiving effort roll, and I would still get the same accommodations as people with honor rolls. Like if you made honor roll, like all throughout the year, you get to go on a trip like down the shore, you know, with everybody who made honor roll. But I was the only person with effort roll, and I always thought to myself, why the hell did I make effort roll? What did I do? The reason why I made effort roll was because I went to school every day. My mother's Jamaican, so she installed this in me. I went to school every day. I played the trumpet in 6th grade. I wrestled. I did a little bit of collegiate basketball. I played football. I was going to school, or I'm also, I didn't understand school well, but I went to school early and I stayed late. I did everything. I put the maximum effort in. So the school was like, listen, we feel bad for this kid. Like, he's actually trying. Like, he actually has a life. We gotta throw him a bone. We gotta throw him something at least. And at the time when I was a kid in middle school, I was always like, this is embarrassing. I want honor roll. I want the real deal. But looking back at it, I put that with my life now of like, listen, if I give my 100% effort into something, there's always going to be some sort of profit. I always believe there's profit in hard work. So if 100%. I put my 100% effort into it, I know at the very least I'm going to get respect from my peers. If I mess up on a show, if I mess up at work, if I mess up in life, whatever, at least I know I'm going to get that validation of like, okay, Brandon, we know that you tried your hardest. We know that you were really out here putting stuff together and something happened. At least I get that. And I know the biggest thing is I put that respect in myself. I'm my biggest critic. I'm my biggest fan. I really am. It's all about me. I'm not a selfish guy. I'm always, worried about helping other people. Always a team player. I'm always making sure everybody else is above me before, myself. But when it comes down to business and it comes down to work, I have to make sure that I'm on my game. And I know when I put in maximum effort or not. So when I do something and I know that, like, even if I'm working out at the gym and I'm like, I really want to try and bench this certain amount or lift these certain weights or run a certain time on a treadmill and I can't hit it and my body is legit exhausted and I feel, and not my mind, my body, because my mind always tire out first. I'm 20 minutes on a treadmill. I'm like, my mind is like, you got it, you're done. You throw the towel in. But I know my body can go another 40 minutes. So when my body tired, I'm like, okay, I know that I achieved the maximum effort. So that's what I've always, lived by is give it your 100% or always put in the maximum effort.
That's facts. Have you ever had a time where you felt like you didn't put that 100%, like maximum effort? Or is it you feel like, nah, I just kept going, like, and never stopped?
There's definitely been scenarios, situations, probably when I've been, like drunk and the next day I'm all tired and stuff. It's hard to put in all that. St. Patrick's Day, 100%. Yeah.
I was like, today is one of those days where I don't need to be at 100%. I'm here 100% with the new peeps I met and vibe out. That was that day. So that counts.
Yeah. But just probably if I really don't enjoy something and I'm doing it just with people I'm around, maybe not. But I really try to strive for greatness. I know that we're on this earth for like a blink of an eye, say if we're here for like we live to 100 years old. Earth's been around millions of years. We're in 2023. Earth's been around forever. Literally. So we're really only here for a blink of an eye. And I gotta try to make the most out of every situation. I always say, like, listen, I'm renting this body. I'm renting this body that I have right now. So I gotta make the most out of everything, out of every day. Try to work the hardest I can and live life to the most. Also enjoy it. That's why when I say my hours. 10:30 to 7:30, 10:30 to 7. People are like, oh my God, how can you do that? I can never do that, blah, blah, blah. And I only say, listen, I'm able to do it because it's what I love. If I was working these hours at Popeyes, not there's anything wrong with Popeyes. If I'm working these hours as somewhere that I don't like, then I would be exhausted. Then I would be like, oh my God, I hate this. I would be depressed. But I'm doing something that I love. I'm doing something that I wanted to go into since I was pretty much like in the 6th grade. I knew what I wanted to do in life. So the fact that I'm doing this, the hours mean nothing to me.
Yes, because the passion, and I said this from literally a couple minutes ago, the passion gives like that extra gear.
Yeah.
And it's something like really internally. You know what I mean? And it goes into your mind mentally. It's like you have a purpose. There's a purpose for me to want to be in the production like field, to produce and be able to help the guests, Your soul like gives you like that reasoning. You know what I mean? It gives you like a meaning in life.
Yeah.
Like, why am I here? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why you got that that passion and that extra motivation to keep going. Whether you fail at something in that work field, you're still going to keep going because you love doing it. Because that's how you're going to grow. You want to be the best that you can be, especially at something that you love doing. You got to get through those mistakes, and that's always like a normal thing. It's always getting through the P's and Q's, but you got to go through like the unknown places that you make the mistakes in, because that's how you're going to become better. And even better too, it helps you to guide people that are trying to follow that passion in producing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can always give them that what's it called, wisdom, like the wise like conversations and advice, like, yo, I've been through this too, like, trust me, do this, you'll be golden, bro. And if you have anything that you're confused with, don't be afraid. I always say this, do not be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
I know people like I felt that way in the beginning, where I felt like I was asking too much questions. But the one person that that was teaching me, he was like, it's like, this is like my first like job, and I was working at a corrugated packaging company, like full-time job. And he was telling me, like, listen, you're going to make these mistakes. First time is fine. Second time is okay. Third time, all right, you got to start figuring out where your issues are lying and why you know what I mean? Because then it's going to be a repetition as it grows. You know what I mean? But he was telling me, like, you have to take on these mistakes in order for you to be the best version of yourself. Because sometimes if you don't take that route, you're just comfortable at being where you want to be. Nothing wrong with that. It's just you love to be in that place, in that particular area. But if you want to take that next jump, that next leap into where you want to be the best that you can be, especially at what your passion is, you have to take on like that building blocks of challenges and mistakes. You know what I mean? Like you had with your whole like scenario of like, all right, probably the first time for you when you were doing like the what's called, when you're working at the news, and you were probably obviously like new to everything, looking around, and then there was probably some scenarios where you're like, oh my God, like I never been through this before. But you had the mentality of, all right, I made a mistake, I'll learn from it, I have you guys, like my sources around, I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions next time, like making sure I do it correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd rather have dumb questions than a dumb result.
To be honest, yeah. Like, I'd rather, like I said, I'm pretty sure I said like the dumbest questions like a bunch of times, but it was worth it at the end.
Yeah.
Because it allowed me to understand, like, I do it like smoothly. Like, I just do it so smoothly that I'm just like, like typing, just getting it done, knowing what to say on an email, especially if it's like a big time like email, if it comes to like revenue, like I'm typing it in, but I know exactly what to say, But that was just smooth and simple because I asked questions. I had to make sure like I was saying things like correctly. You know what I mean? If I don't, if I mess up, like they'll tell me, but they're not gonna like, go off on me. Like they know, like, all right, we know you're making that maximum effort, just like you make that maximum effort. So next time, like, we know you're gonna learn from this like real quick. After that first mistake, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine like the second time. If it's the second time, that's okay. Third time, that's gonna be a problem because you did it the first time, you did it the second time, we told you the third time, and then you're doing it more than 3 times. That's gonna be an issue because now it comes down to like, okay, what's going on here? What's holding me back? And I'm doing this repetitious mistakes, and that's more like an internal soul thing. You know what I mean? With a passion that you love doing, you right off the bat, instant, like, okay, I made a mistake, I'm gonna get it right the second time.
Yeah.
If I get it right the second time, or if I don't get it right the second time, okay, third time, and if 3 times comes in, then I know like I gotta like, all right, I gotta figure out like where am I going with myself right now? But passionately, after the first mistake, you're good. You're golden. You know what I mean? Speaking of, because I know I kept constantly talking about like passion, the origin of your passion. I do remember you telling me that you had this passion of producing in 6th grade.
Not necessarily producing. My passion all the way when I was like in 6th grade. First, I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a football player. You know, like every kid wanted to do.
What position though?
I was a chunky kid. I actually weigh the same now as I did in 6th grade. Yeah. I was defensive tackle. Yeah, I was a defensive tackle. In high school, I played like safety, linebacker, but I played football my freshman year, and I did baseball my freshman year. But I quit both of those sports to jump into wrestling. Right. I dedicated all my focus on wrestling, but
wrestling's tough too because like.
I got a lot of stories about wrestling. Yeah, I was. That's why I quit football and baseball. I really was like, you know what? I want to dedicate myself to wrestling. It's it taught me a lot of discipline, and it formed and shaped who I am today. I have to give a lot of credit to it. It's very tough.
I was gonna say too because you also, I don't have the like full understanding of wrestling, but I do know a few friends that were in the wrestling. What's it called, the wrestling like matches. They would tell me about like how they had to change their weight in order for them to get to a weight class.
That's one of the reasons why I'm the same weight I am now. It's pretty much like that PTSD from wrestling. I had to dedicate myself to weight. And it's a shame because in high school, you know, I tell people I wrestle, they're like, oh, what's your stage name? What's your finishing move? Like, you know,
WWE.
I know, and people would automatically like lose respect to me. Like,
Hayes.
I know. It's like dog. It's like I'm out here like it's a fight. Like I'm out here trying to, you know, take the other guy down. It's a legit fight.
It's like a legit like grapple, and then you put him into like and then lock him, and then tap him. That's it.
So anyway, my whole passion started when I was like in school. I wanted to be a professional athlete. I wanted to be a football player.
That was started initially. Yeah.
So but then I realized like, listen, I'm probably not gonna make it, but I love to talk about sports. I always, I really like to talk. So let me, go into talk radio. I talk sports talk. That's what I initially wanted to do. I wanted to dedicate with sports. But as I grew up, I started to really like the news. I always wanted to talk to people. Talking was always my thing.
Yeah.
But I started to really morph into the news and just like, what if like a situation happened? What if there's breaking news and I wanted to talk about it? So like, it's like, I want to have like a news show, but then that morphed into like, I don't want to just like, solely dedicate myself on the news. I actually want to be a journalist. I want to go on the field and interview people and talk to people. I love to talk to people, but I love more hearing what other people have to say, interviewing people. I love to ask people questions. So, later on in life, I had my own podcast and I was getting into media, and getting into media was so tough. But one thing before I even go on with my journey, the way my journey even started is just amazing because when I was younger, like around like kindergarten, first grade, I had a horrible speech problem. It was so bad. Yeah, I couldn't say the word hospital until I was in the 5th grade. And I couldn't really read out loud too. I was suffering bad from dyslexia. I couldn't even read out loud. Like, it was so bad. So the fact that I wanted to even get into this profession is amazing. Another thing, too, is with my voice. The way my voice started developing, it was like a roller coaster. It was remarkably deep in when I was like 12, 11. And I remember my brother, it was, I sound like Barry White. My brother and people in school, they always made fun of my voice because it was super deep. It was, deeper than what it is now.
I call that puberty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nobody wants to say that. They just, anything that you can, any little thing people want to make fun of you for, they would take that and run to the bank. Because I guess, and either as humans or even the media, I don't know what is installed in us, but that's just the thing. That's just the way it is. So I had this horrible speech problem, and once I started to kind of figure out the speech problem, I had this horrible thing with my voice. But I always, I always think of my voice as the ugly duckling. Like, it kind of became, it was ugly at first, but then it became beautiful towards the end. And I love my voice now. But it's remarkable that I still had this installed in me. Like, okay, I still want to be into talk radio. I still want to be able to talk to people.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
So when I started like wanting to dedicate myself into media, into the field, it was really hard to like break in. I would do a lot of stuff with college radio, whatever, but I never really had an internship. The closest internship I had was my father knew somebody who worked at a church, and he had a podcast in the church basement. He had a gospel radio station. Ooh. And he's like, okay, if you want to come in and do 30 minutes of whatever, come in. Like that was my internship. So that's what I put down as like my first legit internship.
Hey, that's something though.
It is something. I was willing to do anything because all the big time companies, they wouldn't want to take a chance on me. They was like, we don't know this kid. That's another reason why I display my passion so much and display my effort so much. Nobody wanted to take a chance on me. All throughout college, I'm looking at everybody have these prestigious internships. Everybody's working this and there, and here I am with nothing. Church basement. But I really stretched it out though.
You know what it is too? I feel like too. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like especially with like those prestigious like internships. I feel like the only way to like get like those type of internships is like you have to have like some sort of connection with somebody who's like within that company in order for you to get like the foot in the door to get that prestigious internship, which is like hard. You know what I mean? Like that's why I think like I'm on the same boat too. Like in the beginning, like people like didn't like want me because like like I had to show like my effort in order for you to validate like, yo, I actually like enjoy doing this. Like I love doing it. I can give you all like the skill sets that I do, and I actually enjoy it. But you have to give me like a chance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like again, the company that when I told you about in the corrugated packaging, I started off as a design assistant, but it was only like a temp, like a contract job. It was full time, but it was contract. But what I liked about it was they gave me a chance because they called me, they saw my resume, they were like, all right, you know what, like, come, we have a couple questions, and if we like you, like, come in person and we'll have an interview with you. I did well on the call. I go there to the company, literally like gave them like literally everything, like just telling them like what I love doing, what I when they tell me something like I don't know, like I'll just be like I don't know, but like I'm willing to learn. Like if you show me, because I'm always I'm very technical. I like to understand things like why do we have this here, what is this software, and why is this such a big deal for your company, why is this an importance. Then they took the chance, and because of that, I was able to show like what I can do. Yeah, it started off rough in the beginning because I'm new to everything, and I'm also new to a full time, 9 to 5 like shift 5 days a week. Something I had to get adjusted to and acclimated. But then as time progressed, and they started seeing like, even when I was making like the rough mistakes, they still like kept relying on me. Because they knew like they started seeing like that growth as like time progressed, and they started seeing like that confidence in me, and then later on, they promoted me like a full-time position, salary, and it made me realize too like, if you give yourself like a chance out there, and be able to, somebody will give you that chance.
They will,
and it's crazy too because I know like the prestigious like stuff like internships and like they have like these like specific links or connections in order for them to get like that position. That's just like my take because I don't I don't know. It depends.
You're 100% right because that's even how I got the position I'm in now. I'm gonna tell you about how I even got this job that I'm in now because I work for a great company, everything.
Yeah.
But right when I graduated college, I graduated a major in communication, minor in journalism, Fairleigh Dickinson University, and
speaking of wait, FDU.
Yeah.
Tell me about that NCAA tournament, bro.
Oh, it meant a lot. It did. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna lie. For any school in New Jersey, if they make it, I feel good. Like I don't even know why. Like I feel good. But Fairleigh, and it's crazy because I didn't even that campus that's the TNEC campus.
Right?
I went to the Madison campus, but I still feel like I was a part of it. Yeah, I still feel like I was there. So yeah, and I don't know why it's NCAA. Maybe because it's once a year and it's so hard. Yeah. But damn, it did feel good.
Yeah, really I was like, because like who did they beat? I'm trying to remember who they beat.
I forgot to. Right?
Was it no? I don't think it was Purdue. That might have been Princeton that beat. I'm not sure, but I know
it was. It was like it was a number 1 seed.
It was a number 1 seed.
Was it Purdue?
It might have been Purdue because like I just remembered, or it was Arizona. It's one or the other. I just remembered like the upset, and I sat there and I'm like, that's in New Jersey. That's TNEC Madison FDU.
I had basically a reunion. I see people because I didn't even I'm not even gonna lie to you. Yeah. I didn't even watch the game. Because I was sleeping. I was getting ready for work because the game's was like middle of the day, like, 7 o'clock, whatever.
Yeah.
So I wake up to like text messages and Snapchats and Instagram DM. It's like people I haven't even heard from in years. It's like what do you want? Like, at first I didn't see the message. I'm like, oh my god, I owe the money. Like what's going on? And then it's like, yo, we did it. I'm like, I didn't do anything.
I haven't spoken to you in ages. How the hell? Like, what did we do? What did I do? And you find out, yo, look at the TBS, yo. Like,
yeah.
After you just advanced.
And then I'm like, oh my god, yeah, it meant a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, sorry.
Please. So I graduated and I majored in communication, minor in journalism, and I really thought that like, okay, I have my church radio experience, and I did college radio, and I did college newspaper, and I got a degree. There's, people gotta take a chance on me. Nobody took a chance on me. Nobody.
Like you would assume, like, give me like something. I can get something.
Not only did nobody take a chance on me in media, nobody took a chance on me in any field, because they're like communications, like. Anybody can get communication. It's like that means nothing, and I'm not trying to talk down on a degree, but it's like. When you're trying to get a job in any other field, like like a real job, like a job with a salary and with benefits and stuff like that, they don't care about community. They really don't. And I really found it out the hard way. I remember one of the first jobs I had right after college. I was a door-to-door salesman. Selling it was like house stuff. It was like siding, roofing, whatever. Gotcha. I did that for like about 2, and I was dedicated to it because like I said, anything I do, I'm gonna try and be great at it. Yeah. It was 6 days a week, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning till damn near 8, 9 o'clock at night. It was like we're in the office from like 3 o'clock, and then we go out, and then we're trying to sell stuff from like 4 to 8 o'clock. Yeah. And the only reason why I quit, I was living with my mother. And my mother's like, Brandon, I see the potential in you. I see the growth in you. So either you do 2 things. Either you quit this job and look for something else, or I'm going to kick you out the house. Like, she was legit like, I'm going to kick you out because you're better than this. Yeah. And she was serious. She was got the suitcase, everything. She was
a wake-up call here.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. So I quit the job and I was unemployed. And then I ended up getting a job in finance. And I got that through a recommendation. It was my mother's friend. She's like, you need people. Loan processing. Yeah, I was a loan processor for a debt settlement company. I was doing that. And I tried to make the most of it. It was whatever communication aspect was involved, I took it and I ran to the bank with it. Calling clients, talking to coworkers. I tried to do everything communication. But I never let go of my dream, though. That's when I was still doing like podcasting on the side, doing whatever on the side. Pandemic hit, 2020. I got laid off. Which was great. I was so happy that I was able to stop working from that. And I was really like dedicating more to podcasting and stuff. But when stuff started opening up, when everything opened up again, the job was like, hey, do you want to come back? And I'm like, sure, because it's an easy job. Yeah. And I still do my thing on the side. And that's when I'm like, you know what? I want to go back to school. I want to get my master's because I really want to separate myself from the competition. I really do. And once again, it's so crazy how life comes full circle because here I am, I'm talking effort roll. I was really bad in school, dyslexic, speech, everything, and here I am. I'm about to get my master's in a few more weeks, and it's not nothing to brag about. It's just you put in the work, you put in the effort. Anything can happen. Yeah. Like you really can succeed at any, no matter what setbacks you have in life. Like, I really look at myself as my biggest motivation. I never had a role model. I never had, like, a positive figure in my life. I always looked at, I always had my dream. I always had my goal. And I look at that as, okay, whatever's in my way, I'm going to put that to the side. I'm focused on my dream. I know what to do to get there or not. Like, I really do. And it's nothing but hard work and effort, because all the time, even with sports, when I stayed with wrestling, I would wake up early in the morning. I would work out, go to school, go to practice, and then I would go to another practice after practice. Like, I worked at like 3 times a day, and I noticed how I got better. So I always looked at that like, hard work always equal profit. It always profit in hard work.
Be the littlest profit, and it will be something good later down the road.
Yeah, and I noticed myself getting better. So I installed that in life. Like, okay, if I'm always, even with school too, like, they acknowledged the fact that I showed up every day and I was willing to do extracurricular activities, whatever. So I still did my podcast on the side, and I'm working, and they laid me off again. The same job laid me off twice. I don't know how often that happens to people.
It's like, we're gonna lay you off again. Like, what did I do this time? It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Listen, the company's going through stuff, so they laid me off again.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, okay, now I really gotta find a job in media. Now I was like dedicated. I'm like, I don't want to do a job in finance, because I could have got another loan processing job. I was there for over 2 years. I probably could have got a job easy, and they see that I'm on my way getting my master's. But I'm like, no, I'm dedicating myself to media. So I'm really applying places. I filed for unemployment. Unemployment didn't come until like months afterwards. So I had no source of income. At one point, and what's crazy? The difference between when I was unemployed after I got laid off and when I was unemployed right after college was right after college, I didn't get any responses. When I was unemployed after I got laid off, I got a bunch of interviews. I was getting a lot of interviews. It was just nothing afterwards. Brandon, we want to go in a different direction. Brandon, we want someone with a little bit more experience. Brandon, this experience, that experience, whatever. Yeah, so it was really, it hurt a lot. I was like, oh my God, the experience thing. Because one thing I left out too was when I was working for the finance, I was doing work from home, and I was able to intern at a radio station for like 6 months. I was able to do an internship there, and they loved my work. I was there 3 a.m, and then I would leave and get back to my work at around 9 o'clock in the morning. And I would do that for about 3 days a week. And I got credit from my college. It was an internship. That was my first true internship, even though I didn't even get paid. It was at a legit radio station. No church basement. Nothing wrong with church basements.
Yes.
But no church.
Like an actual studio.
Yeah. I was actually, in the field.
Yeah.
So I was really hungry looking for a media job, and nothing was happening. I had no source of income, so I'm like, you know what? Let me DoorDash for a little bit. And I'm like, while I'm DoorDashing, I'm going to be the best DoorDasher I can.
I'm going to dash fast.
I'm going to dash hard. I was road running. I made it a full-time, I did it for like 8-10 hours a day, and I made sure to get 5-star ratings. I made sure to always have everything that I go into. That's why when you ask me the question, like, have you ever like go into a situation and you didn't give it your 100%? I stumbled because I'm really trying to think, when did I really not go into a situation not going hard in the paint, not going 100%? Everything I do, I want to be great at it, because that's how life unfolds. That's how when you actually get to where you want to be, you're like, okay, I remember I went 100% all throughout life. This is nothing now. This is nothing. So when I was out there door dashing for a couple of months, I was really like going hard, doing what I got to do. So one thing I was doing on the side too. Yeah, one thing I was doing on the side was yoga. Big into yoga, big into meditation. Yes, I do yoga. Yes.
Oh,
I do yoga and I meditate a lot.
I gotta do like one of your like sessions or something. Listen, I'm so like first of all, I really don't stretch. I should stretch, but like literally, I've always wanted to try out yoga. Yeah, because I feel like you can be like in your inner peace. You can feel like you have like a wonderful sense of like, smooth mindset. You feel fresh. You come out and you're just like, I feel good. Yeah, I feel good. And I feel like, because like it's just clearing everything in your mind, like all the toxic of what you were going through, and then being able to clear that mind and being ready for like the day. Like,
everything I feel like I'm surrounded is toxic when it comes to just being on my phone, looking at the content on social media, looking on TV, looking at the news, and then even I'm working for news. There's so much negativity out there. And the one thing I figured out with yoga, man, I was doing yoga all the way back in. Let me tell you how I got into yoga really quick. So my mother, she always signed us up for camp, always signed me up for camp every year, whatever. And this was a camp in the high school, and she gets to pick what I wanted to do. And she picked pottery and yoga and something else. And I was so upset at her. And I'm like, what do you do yoga for? Like, there's actually like a video game club. I'm like, this video game club is bad. You make me do yoga. I was so mad at her. But I did it, and I fell in love with it. And I loved it, and I did it in high school, and I still continue to do it now.
You think your mom after that? You're like, thank you, Mom.
I kind of. Because listen. Yeah, thanks for signing me up. But at the end of the day, like, I liked it though. It's me that liked it, so I got to give myself some credit as well.
Yeah. Full-fledged, just 100% took it on. You were like, yeah.
I was like, okay, it's not that bad. It's not horrible. Yeah. So, and when I was unemployed, that's what I would do a lot too, is yoga. So, and I always like talking to my yoga teacher afterwards, and I told her my situation. She was like, my husband works in media. I can see if he can help you out, whatever. And I think nothing of it because I always think, people do this and that. And I've heard that a bunch of times. And he actually helped me out. He put a word in, and then I got an interview. Interview was only 10 minutes long. 2 hours later, it was like, hey, we want to hire you. And that was
2 hours.
In 2 hours. And I was unemployed from July till like about January. I was unemployed for a few months. And I was I was really in the gutter, and no one wanted to hire me. And here I am now, ended up getting a job as a producer, and they took a chance on me. And that chance, I took it, and I'm making the most of it. I am stretching it out. I am making sure I am the first one there, last one out. I want to make sure that I never ever had to be in a situation like I was in before. I want to make sure that is long gone, and that was a one and done thing. That looking for jobs and interviewing and all that. If I'm gonna be doing that, I at least have a job in my back pocket. I'm gonna be interviewing for another position, and that's what I'm looking at down the road. Of course I love being a producer. I love doing what I want to do, but down the road, I actually want to be a journalist and go into the field.
I love that, and the cool thing about that too is, it's like you never look back. You know what I mean? Of course, like we the struggles of finding like the opportunities and the jobs have been a tough like road, and I think it goes for everybody because everyone has like those tough roads where they're unemployed for quite some time until finally, some point, somehow, someone will reach out to you. You know what I mean? And being able to be blessed with just any opportunity, just as long as I'm given an opportunity, it will put my foot in the door, and it will take me a long like path to somewhere good, and somewhere not even good, even great, something successful. You know what I mean? And being able to have that opportunity, and your guy putting in a good word for you, that helps a lot. You know what I mean? It helps a lot. I would just, it's just one of those things like, something will happen. Yeah. As long as you keep doing what you got to do, being able to focus on yourself and being able to grind out what you have going on, like your podcast as a side, and then all of a sudden something given to you, on just a random day, just opportunity. All right, I'm gonna go for this interview. I'm not gonna be lazy and not take advantage of this. I will take advantage of this, and being able to see you, take that chance and seeing where you are. Once you're there, bro, like you're already in the producer. What's called the assistant producer?
Production assistant.
Production assistant. Taking that to another level later down the road, going to elevate into higher positions. You know what I mean? But as long as you continue showing like your effort role, which panned out to work out for you later down the road, right? You know what I'm saying? And being able to see that effort role grow more drastically into your path, it's gonna take you places.
See, that's why the whole effort role. I thought of it as like, it's like a participation trophy. It's like, but it's really not. I feel like you deserve some sort of recognition. If you put the work in, you have to get recognized. Even if you suck, if you're horrible at something, if you were able to go to practice every day and stay after and show up early and ask questions and get tips and you really put your all into something, you're gonna get recognized.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But if you suck because you just don't want to, you're missing practice, you don't care about it, you're missing work, whatever, then then you get the ultimate disrespect, which is necessary, honestly.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's like I said, you take it a step at a time, being able to again take it day by day, but knowing like giving your best, knowing that people will see that. Because people at first, like I always feel like, because I also work, 100% as well. It would be like, all right, in order for me to really show people that I put in the A+ game, I got to make sure I'm like there at all costs. I'm there at the meetings early. I'm there and ending at the meetings late, being able to get all the questions that I need to get a task done, little details like that. And then the more you'll be seeing your colleagues, your coworkers like every day. They're gonna see it like constantly growing. And then probably this too. I don't know how long you've been in the position for. I don't know.
Few months, like about 4 months. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, bro. A couple more months, or probably there now. Once you like start mastering things, people are gonna be asking you questions because they can rely on you. When people start relying on you, it shows that he's good. He good. We gotta have to ask him questions because he knows what the hell he's doing. Because they want to go to people that have great sources, people that they can get good advice from, tips and tricks. Because when they do that, it shows that you have that ethic of taking that next level. They want to get to that level too. And they want to follow in your footsteps because they see how your ethic is. You know what I mean? But then it shows that, like you said, you talk about, you yourself is that motivation. You yourself, like, I want to dominate. You know what I mean? But by dominating, my actions have to speak louder than words in order for me to take that next leap. And being able to see people come to me asking questions on something that I love doing to me, I would say that's something that I would love because it's something that, wow, you're actually asking me questions to on things that we're doing in terms of producing, because they see that you know what you're doing and you have that work ethic and that passion. And that's, to me, is something that I feel like all humans and all viewers should have, is to show your actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
Like, you can talk the talk, but you got to walk the walk. And if you walk the walk, you'll be walking to success. And that's like the things that I see from you. And that's why, again, I'm glad to have you on this show and being able to hear your experiences on getting to that producer life and being able to find that path. So, Brandon, thank you again for coming, man.
Thank you for having me on. Truly appreciate it. Of course.
And thank you guys for watching the Dark Bros podcast. We'll see you guys soon for episode 18. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you guys soon. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good job. We did it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Of course.